Alright, what's up guys? This is Tom Burkhardt from car-revs Daily. Going out for a drive review in one of the hottest cars on the market. This is the 2020 BMW Z4 M40i. This Roadster is so much fun. I can't get over it. So, today we're going to do a performance drive review out here on the handling loop down in South Carolina. We've got the car in Sport Plus. We'll tap the trash. So Z4 M40i is packing 382 horsepower and does the 0 to 60 sprint in just 3.9 seconds. So it's obviously a lot of hype around this vehicle because it's of its shared platform mate. And the Supra has been sucking up a lot of attention and column inches in the magazines, but in truth, the Z4 is just as special, if not more so. I'm really excited to tell you guys about it, but I'm going to focus on, because I've never driven the Supra, I can't do direct comparisons, so we're going to focus on how this car is different than the Z4s that came before, and how it is different, and in many cases better than the Boxster and the SLC 43, and even the SLC 63. So, just an awesome car. This Z4 is amazing. It's unbelievably fast for a rear-wheel drive car. Tons of character from this motor. Let's go over into S, got it off. Let's do a little launch start. Yeah! So fast, so fun. For a rear-wheel drive car, I can't think of a quicker rear-wheel drive mainstream vehicle. And that's at the core of some of Z4's strengths versus its rivals, not just the Supra, but of course in the Boxster and the SLC, and of course the Jag F-Type too. So it's basically a lot quicker. I mean, the SLC 43 on paper does the sprint in just in 4.7 seconds, and the 718 Boxster S does it in 4.6. So they're both about 4.6, 4.7. As we know, it's down about almost a full second, which is, you really feel that. It goes from being like a quick car to like an absolute rocket. And that's what this Z4 is. Z4 is so fast, it's quicker than the Supra by about 0.2 to 60. That car is down 47 horsepower versus this vehicle. Same motor, but different tune. So we're making 382 horsepower. The Supra only comes in, maxes out at 335. So a lot quicker than those cars, and it's almost as quick as the SLC 63 with the big V8. That's a lot more expensive, which does it in 3.7. So this new Z4 is so fast and so cool. It looks awesome on the road. The looks are really fresh, and gets a lot of stares and a lot of attention. With this all new nose, brand new tail, looks a lot like the new 850, and it's just a very cool machine. But you'll notice when you see one in person is that the proportions are totally different than before, and that's thanks to a new platform. We get a lot of greatness from this new platform. The car's about like 4 to 5 inches wider. It feels significantly bigger inside than that old Z4, and it's a lot more rigid. It's so much more rigid than before. I mean, the old car, the suspension had to be basically rock hard because there was a lot of flex in the chassis. But with this chassis being so rigid, Toyota, which has the hardtop version, says that their Supra on this chassis is stiffer than the carbon fiber Lexus LFA. It was a $400,000 masterpiece. Car Jeremy Clarkson still, says it might be the best vehicle he's ever driven. So Z4 is stiffer than Supra in certain places of the chassis. It doesn't have the roof, obviously, and we do switch to soft top versus the hard top in the last Z4, which springs a lot more trunk space than before. Awesome pops from the exhaust out back. I'm sure you can hear that. So significantly stiffer. It has like underfloor chassis bracing versus Supra, just to make sure that the car is just rock solid in terms of its rigidity, even with no roof. And it really is. I mean, this car is so great in terms of the chassis is phenomenal. So bigger trunk, wider, you know, better stance, wider in the cabin. And so much faster. I mean, where could you go wrong? You really can't. So the some of the other, like you mentioned, this is one of my favorite drivetrains in the world. I think it's the best inline six in the world. You know, you can't call these a V6, but it's better than any V6 that I can think of right now either. It's just so amazingly powerful. So the 382 horsepower, 365 foot-pounds of torque is, you know, like the Germans are wont to do, is probably underrated. This thing feels like it's probably putting out about 420 or 430 horsepower and like a cool even 400 in terms of the torque. It's just got oodles of power. This was already one of my favorite drivetrains in, you know, the 2 Series, 3 Series, 4 Series, 5 Series. It's even in the new 7 Series and the X5. So it was easily one of my favorite powertrains before, but it's and in this Z4, which is so much lighter, it's astoundingly good. Okay, so let's pop the let's do another launch start. Got perfect traction right now. It's a little bit, but if there isn't perfect traction, I mean, the car is like, it will spin its wheels in first, second, third, even fourth sometimes. It has that much power. But there's a ton of grip for this in this generation, thanks to, you know, wider paws all around, a limited M active rear differential, and then Michelin's Pilot Sport Cup tires, basically like Super Sports. They're like some of the best tires in the world, and optional non-run flat summer performance tires that we're wearing. So even though you can brake traction if you want to, one of the biggest traits about the differences between Z4 and Supra is that the Z4 is a little more planted. You know, Supra is likes to hang its tail out a little bit more as their handling setting. You know, like anyone who's driven the FRS will know. I mean, that car is very eager to pop its tail out. So similar handling tune, I guess, on the Supra. But so we got wider rubber, a ton of front end grip, a ton of rear end grip. And the steering is superb. The BMW steering is amazing. This steering is a major advantage versus the 4 Series convertible and the 2 Series convertible, just in terms of how feelsome it is and how just like incisive the turn-in is. We'll see how the mic is going to work in this, but essentially, so even though the wind noise does pick up, it's incredibly calm in this cabin. It's really phenomenal in terms of refinement. So with that additional, so back to the closing out the chassis rigidity point, we're able to have softer springs and shocks than before. We've got adjustable dampers, and in Sport Plus we're in the firmest there is. But the overall ride is much smoother than any Z4 before. That helps. That's, you know, thanks to this new platform. Of course. But it's also because the proportions are so different. In every Z3 and Z4 before, you were really sitting on that back axle back there. So any kind of bump harshness that came through the back was right up your spine. Whereas this vehicle is a little more, the cockpit is a little more centralized. Still an enormous, you know, rear drive proportion layout, long hood, classic Roadster proportions, but a lot more smoothness over big impacts than were ever possible in any Z4 before. So those are all great things. Chassis also gets a huge, you know, the vehicle in general gets a huge upgrade in cabin tech and refinement. So it's a lot smoother, like we said, a lot quieter, it feels a lot better built, and the tech is outstanding. I mean, this is like the coolest tech suite around. I really, you know, where things with the iDrive were difficult to use before are now really intuitive, and it's just a really well-resolved technology package. So versus Boxster and SLC. So what are we talking? Okay, well, essentially the Boxster's main advantage is its nimbleness and how like pinprick precise you can be with its steering around corners and apexes. So does Z4 beat that? I mean, as a front engine car, no, it doesn't. But you know, Boxster is much more, has much less sort of like wallop and like whiz bang power coming out of corners. It's got less of a less impressive launch. It's just so much slower. It's really, that's more like a, I mean, it's just not even really in the same league in terms of sheer power. And then it also like never really calms down. I mean, the ride is pretty like tinny, you know, it's like, it's significantly bouncier than people might expect in a Boxster S. Whereas Z4 is super chill. This car rides great, even in sport mode, and Sport Plus, of course. It rides really good, really well. So versus SLC, some of the key differences and competitive advantages the BMW brings is a fresh style. So SLC is like so, even though they changed the name, I mean, it is so dated. It is super dated. I haven't driven the latest one, but the ones I have driven have really like plodding, unfun steering, and again, a really springy, like oversprung ride feel. So like an imprecise nose, but also not that much grunt, and you're paying a lot for the badge. For a vehicle that doesn't really have as much joyfulness and as much Roadster elan as it should, and as the Z4 does. Oh, so this is a really special vehicle. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I kind of like it. I'm a pretty big fan. Steering is so quick. Super quick. I love the way the wheel feels. I mean, I just love this car. Okay, so it's just more fit for purpose than the SLC, which in a lot of cases feels just like it drives like a super compromised, you know, C-Class convertible. It's just like, well, why wouldn't you just get the C-Class and get a little back seat then? Whereas Z4 really feels unique in its own right, and it absolutely comes alive in your hands. So let's transition into places where the car might be a little bit better. Okay, so it's very few. One of them is like, you can see this seatbelt is like a little bit choky. It's got like a catch thing, but it doesn't really work. So you might want to get like one of those softener things, one of those like lambskin seatbelt covers. Just because it's right up on your neck a lot. Second thing is, and I really had to like brainstorm of things I was going to say I didn't like about it, because I truly love it. It's gorgeous, fast, fun, and just fuck yeah, powerful. So other things is like it has iPhone or excuse me, Apple CarPlay compatibility, I guess is what they call it. And you can get like a BMW connected app that apparently will mimic some of the capabilities of CarPlay. But it's not like CarPlay where you just plug it in and it's there, which is a little bit, I mean, the 850 had not only had plug-in CarPlay, but had wireless CarPlay. So I was just like, oh my God, fuck yeah. I mean, that was amazing. Best, first time I've ever done wireless CarPlay. So that could be a little better. And then the brakes on this car are a little weird. Okay, so let's not do a, okay, I'm gonna go into park. Let's turn off the traction control. DSC inactive. Okay. Now we're gonna go back into drive. We'll go Sport Plus again. So I'm gonna do a brake torque launch, but not in S, so it's not gonna be a launch start. But I just want you guys to experience how much power this car has off the line. Okay. Oh my God. It's got the cleanest burnout you could ever imagine. I mean, it was just perfect evidence of the chassis being phenomenal. Traction control going back on. I mean, phenomenal chassis, phenomenal engine, so fast. So where does it really so off the line, does it feel that much quicker than like 340 or particularly like the X4 we had the other week? It feels pretty similar off the line. If anything, the launch start is a little less, it's a little less, it pops you off the line with a little less enthusiasm because it doesn't have all-wheel drive, obviously. So that's an issue. Or that's not an issue, but it's just a fact. But it absolutely makes up for that once you hit like 30, 40 miles an hour. And then from 50 to 60 miles an hour, the passing speed of this car is unbelievable. It's so rapid. It will pass anything, anytime, anywhere, at any speed. So fast. Faster than you can ever imagine. So it really gains, and that's how it's so much quicker in the official sprint times, as well as just being lighter. I mean, it's just so much radically more aerodynamic and lighter that it really just makes up for any of that. Makes up for any of that launch start, lacking the ferocity of an all-wheel drive launch start by just being an unbelievable savage at speed. But in truth, I mean, this is a really classy Roadster. This is a classy experience, and that'll take us to our closing point, which is pricing. So Z4 comes with 2 engine options instead of just one in the Supra. So Supra starts from about 50, and so does Z4. But the base Z4 is the S-Drive 30i and has the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's still very fast. I think it's like 5 seconds dead to 60 with that 4-cylinder. Still extremely fast. So the same price there. And then to go into the Z4 M40i, I love that you can put the top up too. I think you have to be under 31 miles an hour. But this is still pretty fast to be able to completely put the top up. Go ahead. People in South Carolina are they're most annoying drivers. Yeah, so I mean, just being able to do that on the move is great. It's got remote start, which is awesome too, and remote roof operation. I wish you could do the remote roof from farther away, but not a big deal. The top is super fast, super insulated. I mean, this car just is such a super win. So really, this is a classy Roadster for classy people, and with a classy price. So $60K is the base for this. Z4 M40i. A lot more wind movement with the windows down, but really very pleasant. And then this one has tested with various options like this gorgeous Misano blue paint and I don't know, a few other goodies. Is at $70,000, including delivery, out the door. Bam, ready to go. So there are a couple more options. You can price this thing up to about like 75 with if you get every single option, including like active cruise. This car's got lane keep, but not active cruise. So does it feel worth it at those prices? You know, this is a very niche vehicle, and for people who are in the market, for a super unique, super fast, and really it's like all the greatness of like a purist track special BMW M car, as well as being like an absolute drag strip hero and a rocket ship at all times that'll beat anybody off the line practically. One of the quickest rear-wheel drive vehicles in memory. It's fantastic. I really like it. 2 thumbs up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up there, and like and subscribe. Check out the full review over on Car-Revs Daily in the next couple weeks with lots of gorgeous photos, and we will see you next time.